Madueke, Merino, Timber. Arsenal injury news after new scare before Champions League final. Arsenal head into the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain with a new injury concern emerging. Mikel Arteta was handed a boost. Mikel Arteta has been handed an Arsenal injury boost before the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain. Mikel Arteta's fitness concerns dropped down to 2 before the final Premier League clash of the season against Crystal Palace, but jumped back up to 3 by full time. That was because, following Mikel Merino's return to the fold, Noni Madueke was forced off midway through the second half with a potential hamstring injury. However, he looks to have avoided suffering an injury and is therefore likely to be available for selection to Arteta. There is real uncertainty whether Jurrien Timber will be able to return to the Arsenal squad after an 8-week injury layoff. Ben White has already been ruled out of featuring in the European final because of a knee injury suffered earlier this month. With all of that being said, Football.London has taken a look at the latest updates on Arsenal's injured stars before the huge clash in Budapest. Madueke became a big injury doubt for the PSG game, under pulling up clutching his hamstring in the win over Crystal Palace. However, the Athletic have claimed he has avoided injury and is expected to be fit for this weekend's final. Jurrien Timber has missed the last 2.5 months with a groin injury. The chances of him returning to face PSG appear slim, and he did not feature in the squad against Palace. What Arteta said, May 21st, Jurrien, let's hope he can do the same as Merino in the next few days. But he's still a little further behind Mikel at that moment. Mikel Merino was an injured player that did make his return at Selhurst Park. He played 28 minutes off the bench and did not appear to struggle, which suggests he will be fully fit to face Luis Enrique's side. Ben White picked up a knee injury against West Ham that ruled him out for the remainder of the season and distinguished any chance of him going to the World Cup. He was captured wearing a knee brace during Arsenal's title celebrations this past Sunday. What Arteta said May 14th, we'll have to wait and see. It looks like a long-term injury, so at the moment, the focus is on when we can have him back available for Arsenal. And that's not going to happen for many weeks. Arsenal get Noni Madueke injury update after forward suffers huge scare ahead of Champions League final. Winger was a doubt for Champions League final, going off hurt against Crystal Palace. Noni Madueke is expected to be fit for the Champions League final, brother suffering an injury scare in Arsenal's final Premier League match of the season. The winger started and scored in the dead rubber at Crystal Palace, after which Arsenal lifted the Premier League trophy for the first time since 2004. He went down with less than 10 minutes left to play in regular time, though, and was withdrawn after undergoing treatment. The severity of his issue was not made clear at full time, but Standard Sport understands Madueke has avoided a serious injury and will be fit to face Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final this weekend. The player was struggling with cramp, and his withdrawal was purely precautionary. Madueke was in fine form, so he came back out onto the pitch to take part in Arsenal's trophy lift and subsequent celebrations. Also pushing to be involved at the Puskas Arena is Jurrien Timber, who has now been sidelined for 2 months with a groin injury. Fit or not, it would be a tough ask for Mikel Arteta to throw the Dutchman back in the deep end against one of Europe's finest wingers in Kvaratskhelia. But he is optimistic he will be fit to feature. Asked whether he might play in the final, he told Standard Sport, hopefully, yes. There's hope, but like I said, we'll see. I'm working really hard, I'm trying really hard, and obviously playing in the Champions League final is a dream. So I will give everything, and with the World Cup as well, but obviously, first the Champions League final. It's going to be amazing anyway. Arsenal will bid to complete what could be the most memorable season in their history on Saturday, when they face Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final. Mikel Arteta's side have already secured the Premier League title, ending the London club's 22-year wait for the crown, and now head to Budapest aiming to right the perceived wrongs of their 2006 final defeat to Barcelona. The Gunners should be full of confidence ahead of Saturday's final, having gone unbeaten since the start of the competition, league phase and knockout stages, a run that now stands at 14 matches without defeat. Although David Raya mentioned experiencing issues with his back, glute and shoulder following Arsenal's penultimate Premier League fixture before missing the final game of the season at Crystal Palace, the Spaniard should return to the She for Saturday's final. By comparison, Ben White will miss the Champions League decider after suffering a significant MCL injury in the Premier League run-in away at West Ham United, while Jurrien Timber is expected to play for the Netherlands at the 2026 World Cup. The versatile defender's involvement against Luis Enrique's men in Budapest remains uncertain. After seemingly sustaining a minor hamstring injury in Arsenal's final day win at Crystal Palace, it remains unclear whether Noni Madueke will be available for their PSG test. Although it has been reported that he was substituted only as a precaution, the club have remained tight-lipped and are yet to issue any official update on the wide attacker.